Go, I can take it. Yes, for sure. Thank you. I'm sorry to bug you. Never understand. Okay, let's start learning Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Amen. Get to be in this spot right here. So,
Right, I have to bring the spoon. Don't take it with that spoon.
thank you. Warm regards to you.
No, the rabbi in the synagogue, yeah?
Yeah. What if I made like I'm great in minimum design? Basically, I know. Hostage. That's what it is. Not me. I'm happy.
Right there. Thank you.
No, I'm saying it's not.
It's for you. You spicy. Spicy salmon in the oven, okay?
Okay, my brother.
My last says, no rain today, right?
That's it.
I mean, we davened today like twice for rain, so it's rain.
Give it this moment of
Like herring, there's a lot of herring like that.
Good Chodesh.
Kodesh. Thank you for joining us.
I just picked up new wicks. Yashikoach. But at the supermarket I picked up wicks. Baruch Hashem wicks.
Yeah.
I was 5 short.
And what did you use? Olive? What kind of olive oil did you use?
Just regular, regular olive oil,
Good. That's good.
Baruch Hashem, not expensive stuff, just nice stuff.
Just because they charge you more doesn't mean it's a higher quality.
No, it's low quality. I mean, I got the cheapest one that had an OU. That's it.
Okay, fine. Okay,
And with Kavana, that's the most important thing.
that's good.
It was perfect. It's just enough. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. Okay, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Baruch Hashem.
I'm sorry.
Rabbi, can I get you some extra?
No.
Chodesh?
No. Thank you.
Chodesh.
Thank you.
It was a very long davening. Baruch Hashem.
Yeah.
At Rabbi Bucket's.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. Ask Rabbi Bucket to tell you the story. I told last Shabbos a story about his father, about a person that came to his father and asked him, he needs the Yechidus by the Rebbe, and then he walked out in the middle of the Yechidus and slammed the door shut.
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
wow.
Ask him about the story. Tonight, You let me know if you asked him the story,
No,
okay?
no, no. He wasn't in shul today, so maybe he's not feeling well or whatever. He
Okay.
wasn't. He was not in shul this morning. Normally he
Okay.
is,
Whenever he's in shul, ask him about the story, okay?
but when he came back from the shluchim, he had a cold, and
Oh,
I've been taking Z Stack from Rabbi Zelenko's, vitamins, Z
yeah.
Stack, and I that I should suggest that to him as well.
It looks like a pilot. David, where you flying? Give me. So you see full?
No?
Look at him. Melach, son. Drink you. Yes, what the fuck?
Okay, let's get started. Hayom Kotzav Amalochem Aruba. So one of there were three questions we asked. One of the questions we asked, is it appropriate to have Hanukkah gifts under the menorah?
What?
So more to the point, is there such a thing as there's an old minig for Hanukkah gelt? The question is if that minig of Hanukkah gelt is also Hanukkah presents, or would you say that this is whatever, a terrible thing? The truth is that there's many reasons why we should give Hanukkah gelt.
Good morning.
There's many reasons why we give Hanukkah gelt. The Rabbi Socher Adova Beld said that the reason we give Hanukkah gelt is because Hanukkah we have to give a lot of tzedakah. Why? Because having a Hanukkah candle is very important, just like the four koises. It's very important, and the Hanukkah is very important to have. It's more important than anything else. So therefore, we want to give tzedakah, even those Jews that can't afford it. So we give them tzedakah, but we don't want if it'll be embarrassing. So we give everybody. So therefore, the rich, the poor, we give everybody money. So the poor people have money to have for buying wicks and oil. And there is a reason that's brought because the dreidel, let's do it. The dreidel learning Torah. There's out of Kanman, the Rosh Yeshiva of Panovich said that the original minig was that the Rosh Yeshivas would go out, collect money for the yeshivas on Chanukah, because it has to do with the learning Torah. So from that came a minig also to give Chanukah geld. He was a fundraiser. He raised millions of dollars. So, understand why he came up with that shot. The Belzer Rebbe, you can understand why he came up with his shot. But there is a pshat also Kabbalah from the Rebbe's father. But the Rebbe's pshat is the most forward pshat, l'choyre, pshat. The Rebbe says that Chanukah, the word Chanukah means chinuch. That's why we read about the Channukah Mizbeach, because the Yavanim desecrated the Mizbeach, and they made a celebration in order to be Mechanech Mizbeach. That's why we read the special korbanos of Channukah Mizbeach. The Alter Rebbe says in the Maimer that what's the meaning of chinuch? Why is it special korbanos when you're mechanech mizbeach? Just like a child, when you try to be mechanech a child to bring them into a new thing, so you give them gifts, and that gift picks the kid, makes the kid feel really good. That minig is that when a child goes to Cheder for the first time, the Rebbe throws candies on his head and tells him,
Honey on the letter or something?
and then puts honeys on the letters. And that's a very important minig. Why? Because we want to emphasize to a child Torah is sweet, and we want to pick up. The kid should. So that's the Indian of this minig, the minig of the maton.
Is he okay? No, the job is not okay.
I think they're helping him. They're good. He's really good.
Well, sure. Might have pneumonia.
No?
Might have pneumonia. I don't know.
I think
Something.
he's went down the wrong pipe.
Maybe she was on. I don't know.
Where's Pomerantz? He's outside.
You want me to check in?
No. Menachem, you there?
Okay. Not done yet.
Okay. Okay, fine.
It's got till 120.
Okay.
He's a seller.
80.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So the Rebbe said that the reason we give Chanukah geld is just like the Chanukah's and Mizbeach, that to be mechanech, to pick someone up and avodas Hashem to the next level. So what's the difference between them? So basically, and there's another reason that's brought. There's a story, and I told this recently here, that the Tzemach Tzedek once was something very deep and he couldn't understand. So he said they should bring him a plate full of gold coins, and he put his hand through the gold coins. His mind opened up, and he said that was a story of Rabbeinu Tam. That Rabbeinu Tam once couldn't understand something that was very deep. So yes, they should bring him a plate full of gold coins. He put his hand through the gold coins. His mind opened up. So
That's the trick.
that's the trick.
Every time we need to figure something out.
Plate of gold, yeah. Plate of gold. Put your hand through it, and then the mind opens up. The Chanukah, we want that their children, their mind should open up in Torah, and we give them a lot of money. Then they're counting the Chanukah geld. When a person feels comfortable that Baruch Hashem has a plate full of money, his head opens up at learning Torah. So let's summarize. It's tzedakah. There's a lot of things that have to do with tzedakah. A lot of things to do with tzedakah. And then there is it's a tzedakah for the poor people, Lord. And then there is the Rebbe's reason that it's the inyan of inuch. What's the difference? If you say the whole source is tzedakah, tzedakah is really money. You don't give a teddy bear to tzedakah. It could be a teddy bear; it's very cute, and you bought it from the Vermont Teddy Bear Company. But a teddy bear, you don't give him that tzedakah pushka. To give him tzedakah pushka, you give money. But if the vort is matonas, so then why not? They give matonas. So originally Jews gave money, okay. But money is matonas are also good. And indeed, we find that in the Sicha from Tov Shemam Ches for the rally, where the Rebbe said that the Chanukah geld and Chanukah gifts. If you look in the rally, Tov Shemam Ches, the Rebbe says Chanukah geld and Chanukah gifts. So therefore, and it makes sense, because the Rebbe's whole thing is that the source of it is chinuch. We want to encourage a kid to chinuch. So what's the difference if you're giving them money or you're giving them a gift? Makes no difference. So most of the time the Rebbe used to say Chanukah geld, but you look in the rally, Tov Shemam Ches, the Rebbe said. So therefore, to conclude, there's nothing wrong with giving Chanukah gifts, and it could be wrapped up too. Maybe you shouldn't be wrapped up in the green and the red, but today you can get the nice Jewish wrapping paper.
White.
Yeah, white and blue, like the Empire State Building. That for the covered Hanukkah they did the white and blue color,
Nice.
the Jewish color. Yeah, it's very nice. And maybe you shouldn't stack it up under the menorah, but for sure that based on the Rebbe's reason, the Fedish we see in the Tavsham Ches, that the Chanukah gifts are kosher, and it's a very good thing. Okay. It's the end of Chanukah, so I want to talk about a simple question. How do you get rid of, what do you do with the rest of the oil and the wicks you have from the 8 days of Chanukah? The Shulchan Aruch says that you're supposed to make a madura and to burn it. And there's the whole Arichas in the Shulchan Aruch, the Siman Tov Reish Ayin Zayin at the end of the Siman. But question is, could you just wrap it up in a bag and throw it in the garbage can?
The problem is, a lot of the oil they use today, it doesn't burn down completely. It burns for half an hour after
Right.
you need it. But how many people really need oil burning things? It's in those days people use that for lighting.
Right.
Today's it's
Right.
not necessary.
So really
You
it comes down
you
to,
can cook with it. You cook with
Oh.
it.
okay, so that's the question. Are you allowed to use it?
You wouldn't take it out.
Are you allowed to use it? Are you not allowed to use it? Most people are not asking this question, that they're not trying to use the little bit of the oil left there. Really, the question is, are you allowed to take it, just put it in a plastic bag and throw it in the garbage can?
Well, does it have God's name on it?
Ah, that's the question. Does it have a kedusha in it? Is it tashmisha mitzvah? Is it tashmisha kedusha?
Tashmisha, no?
Is it like tzitzis? Is it like ritzuas? What is it like? What is it like? With Shulchan Aruch, it sounds pretty strict. The Shulchan Aruch says that you should make a madura and to burn it. Now, the truth is that this is a medrash yilamdeinu. The medrash Tanchuma says that you're supposed to make a madura to burn it, and and the sheiltas that Bachoi going writes that way. But it's very tough to go. I was saying last night, I was at the Channukah party, I was telling my brother that I do it every year. Afterwards, I take out all the wicks and I take the extra oil and I put it in a pan, I put it in the sink, and I make a fire and it burns for a few minutes until everything is ashes. And then I pour a little bit of water over it and wrap it up and throw it out. So my brother said, yeah, it's very nice because you don't have any boys lighting menorah. You don't have like 16 menorahs. You're also not buying the ones with the crack off things on the top. So you're using on the Hanukkah the same 8 wicks for all the 8 days. That's what I do. I buy a package of wicks and it lasts me for about 15 years. And it's very easy. So you have 8 wicks or maybe 9 wicks, and you have a little bit of oil left. It's not that hard for you. He says, come to my house, and I have those kits because it's very hard to start pouring for all the kids. I have all these kits, and they're like, what I'm going to start pouring out the oil. I'm taking out the wicks. It'll take a job of about an hour. Then I'm going to have to make a huge fire. Where am I going to make it? In my backyard or where on my porch? Like it's a massive job. It's a 2-hour job. I'd rather just put it in a bag, wrap it up, throw it in the garbage can.
But can you do it?
But so let me go through very quickly the lumdus on the sugya. Have a great day. So what happened is that the Simon, the Tur brings. Well, let's read it inside. Let's read it fast. The Tur writes like this. Everyone has a sheet.
Yeah.
Why should you share? It's good to share. Or I have extra copy. Every paper was happy when they're being used. Here, this paper will be happy that you use it. This paper will be happy I'm using it. This paper will be happy you were using it. Otherwise, the papers are crying that they go into shame, so they're not using it. The Torah writes like this: you add a little oil next day. You add in the third day. Every night, whatever is left from the wicks and the oil in the 8th day. He has to make a special madura. Don't just put it in the oven where you're baking bread, because you're not allowed to have enough from this to bake bread. Because this oil was dedicated for the mitzvah. And if there was got mixed to other oil, then and there isn't 60 to make it basel, you're not allowed to add more oil to be mevatel, because you're not allowed to be mevatel isel lechatchila. By muktzah on Yom Tov, if a little bit of a branch of a decal fell into your fireplace, you're allowed to add more eitzim. It's a yoitzim and a cloud. The shani hosam sheinanim and madach yiro. Loch and them and b'shoshet ner dolik vaser. Gam ken la shoyse la shana abol ner Channukah the shin shem yavalonis amenu. You're not allowed to leave it for next year for Channukah candle, because we're scared that you're going to forget it for Channukah and you're going to fry some latkes with it. The kimin shoyo isel zman meruba. I feel him noiser the clean mose, even if he's leaving a clean mose fetchinen or kosher, because the din is something which is also bachila. If you put in a clean mose, we're not scared. Because if you put it in the toilet bowl, so we're not scared you're going to eat it, because you're a human being, you're not going to eat it. And you're going to remember that you're giving it to your cat or to your dog. Say it's something straight and doesn't know whatever. So you put it in the toilet bowl, and then you'll remember to give it to your dog later. But here, it's you might put it in your candle. The fact that it's not clean mose is not going to help. You have to burn it in a
Question. Today you buy the oil ready-made, you put it in the menorah, and it's finished, you throw the piece of glass or
But you have wicks there. There's wicks left.
nothing. So the wick, you're talking about the oil, not about
The
the wick.
oil and the wicks. He says the oil and the wicks. The oil and the wicks. Beis of Kosher, Beis Rav Tinko Soverosh, Pedek, Bamem Adlikim, B'Shem Shiltas der Bachoi Goen, B'Amort B'Shem Yilavenu, Sikter Abosi. So it's not only in the Shiltas from the Bachoi Goen, but also in the Menorah. ואם תאמר ולכוסף רבנו בשם תפרש העמבי וצורך ליטן שמן כזה השיר. אם נוסם היועצה יוכל לך בויסה. The Torah says you should put oil that it should burn for half hour. But if you burn more than a half hour, you could blow out the candles. RIshon Kosher came with Peda. Can this get it says a contradiction. And earlier in Simutov Rishayim Beis, you said that he's allowed to, after the half hour, he could blow out the candles or use it for the light of the room. And here you're saying that you have to burn it in a special madura. I don't understand. You said you can't even bake bread with it. And over there you said after half hour you're allowed to use it. It's a contradiction. In Kosovaran, Nisha Shema Miamarishan, Moisel Madlik, Nisha Babiamach, and Islam Madura Vesef, and Pemish, and Hooks, and Tose, Hemfil Kimamash Kosovariv, the Moisa, the electors, Velachas, the Kashir, the Zeverotz, the Chabois, the Shtamash, the should be other. The Rif said, the Ran said, it's Taka Machloik is RIshon, if you have to burn it or not. Aval I need to came with Divrei Rosh, Afa Pishakos, as well as the Islam Madura Bishamashiltas, Misa Shesovich, Elekas, and RIshon, Aval the Kos of Smuchim Zaluzu, and said that they're arguing. V'Rebbeinu Poshetu, the Shesovish ain't Chilke, Sherei Kosher Shteim Stam. He wrote both things Stam. Matzosi Kosher M'Shem Mari Abuav. The Mari Abuav answered the question. Again, the question is that here, if it's a machloikis, but the two brings both opinions as if it's not a machloikis. He brings earlier that after a half hour you're allowed to use the glow of the candle, even though you're not allowed to use a candle, right?
Right.
But after a half hour, he says you're allowed to use it as a flashlight. And then 5 simonim later, he says that after Chanukah, you got to burn it. You can't bake your bread with it. So which one is true? Maria Abuv said you could answer like this. If a person pours oil into his menorah, and he says, I only want to dedicate the oil that you need for a half hour. So the rest of the oil he can use as a flashlight or to make bread or to make donuts. But if he puts stam oil, then it's all dedicated for the mitzvah. Even if he put oil for 12 hours, the 12 hours of oil is dedicated for the mitzvah. All the 12 hours of the oil is dedicated for the mitzvah. That's what he says. I don't like this teretz. I think there's a different answer. It's talking about that he put a lot of oil. Once already burnt for half hour. Allowed to be in that. It wasn't dedicated for the mitzvah. Look at the shear. That's only the amount that you need. And what he said in this siman, is talking that he put very little oil, just a half hour oil, and then a wind came and blew it out. And the din is as a kafsa ain't zokkel, you don't have to relight it. But that oil was dedicated for the mitzvahs. Hooked on the mitzvah. Pick it tzarich last the matur. Therefore, you have to burn it. Give him the mashir adloka who hooked to the mitzvahs of also on its minute. Pen goes about goes my monies, and that's what he said. Not goes my monies. Okay, so let me explain. I'm sorry that I'm reading it fast. The time is short. So, Ellen, here it's for you.
Oh, thank you.
So basically, he's giving two answers for the contradiction. Again, what is the contradiction? In Ayin Beis, he said that after a half hour, you can use the oil of the candle for your own use as a flashlight or to fry blintzes. And later, he says that after the 8th day, you have to burn it. So which one is true? So the Maria Abuav answered, depends. When you pour the oil into the menorah, if you had the intention, stam, every drop of oil is dedicated for the mitzvah. But if you said that Tanai Befedish, that this only a half hour worth of oil will be dedicated for the mitzvah, and the rest I could use for my flashlight, I could use to bake bread or to make latkes, then then it's fine. Then the rest you could use.
You could also throw it out if you want.
You can throw it out afterwards.
Mhm.
But so this is a little bit of a chumrah diketeretz. Most people don't remember when they light the menorah to say, well, oh, you should know, I'm making right now a condition.
I remember now because it's
Huh?
because it's share. Remember next year it's tonight.
My brother told me he does it every year. This year he forgot the first day. He remembered the second day of Chanukah to say it. The Mishnah Berurah says that really the halacha is like the second teretz because the Shulchan Aruch Paschal is like the second teretz. That as long as it burnt for a half hour, the rest of the oil is kosher to use. But most of us it burns for a half hour.
Yeah.
As long as it burns for a half hour, it's kosher to use the rest. That's the Beis Yosef's answer, and you don't have to make any conditions. But the first answer says no, that even if it burnt for 6 hours and you put oil for 12 hours, you have to befedish say with your mouth before you start lighting, that, or probably if you think it's good enough, that I'm making a tanai that any oil that's left after half hour is not part of the mitzvah.
That's a minority opinion now.
Now, so the Mishnah Berurah Paskins and Simatov Yishayim Beis also here, the lechatchila the halach is like Shulchan Aruch, that if you didn't make a tanai and it burnt for half hour, you're allowed to use the rest of the oil as a flashlight or to fry latkes.
Right.
But number one, it has to burn at least a half hour. If it doesn't burn a half hour, then brum. Which is not, most of us already burnt for a half hour. The Lubavitch was sitting at the Menorah and waiting a half hour. So like if it blew out, you would light again. You know, you're not obligated to, but if you're not obligated, you're obligated. The Lubavitch Chosid wants to hear the story of the candles for at least a half hour. So if you hold like the Shulchan Aruch, it's not a problem. You could throw the rest in the garbage. Just like I mean, if you want, you can use it to fry latkes. So why couldn't you throw in the garbage? But the Mishnah Berurah says the lechatchila person should try to be machmer like the teretz of the Ran, which the Bach also holds that way, to make a tanai bepeh. What's the machloikas? I think the machloikas is like this. I think the machloikas like goes back to the foundation of the Chanukah candle. The Gemara says, "Ton rabbanon mitzvahs ne Chanukah mishet shokacham," from when the sun sets. Which, by the way, now today I think it's 4:30. The sun sets 4:30. By the way, a very important. It's very important to light it. Mamish b'zman. You're not allowed to learn. You're not allowed to eat before because the zman, according to some opinions, and once a half hour, the Gemara says. We'll talk about it in a second. The Rambam says it's a half hour. The Torah says it's a half hour. Some opinions say that once the half hour is up, you lost the mitzvah. So even though we don't pass on the Shulchan Aruch, we'll talk about it in a second. So,
How about go according to the Rambam, half an hour?
everyone passes that way. Everyone passes that way. The question is the Yovet. We'll talk about it in a second. But I just wanted to say that that even if you light the menorah at 4:30, you should wait another at least 2 to 4 minutes. Why? Because we learned, everyone that was here, we learned the sugya last year. The Alter Rebbe says that you don't measure sunset by the horizon. You measure the sunset if you were standing on a tall building in the city. So there is a little bit of a discrepancy. All the calendars that we have, the Jewish calendars, it's very hard to which the tall building, and then there's a Bechlal, the Alter Rebbe has the idea of 4 minutes discrepancy, which question is 4 minutes in Eretz Yisrael, but over here if it's maybe less or more. So it's kedai to wait at least another 2 minutes. If it says 4:30, to wait up to 4:40 till 2 to 3 to 4:32. To wait at least 2 minutes to give, because could be when the sun dips under the horizon is not really the Zman. The Zman is a little later. So when it comes to everything else like Shabbos, Yippity-doo, it's good to stop the Malacha 30 seconds or 2 minutes or 4 minutes before the Zman. It's very good. It's a good thing. But here, we're waiting for the Zman. Right away, we want to light the candle. It's kedai to wait at least another 2 minutes. So if it says in the Jewish calendar, it's an oversight that the Jewish calendar is didn't have. Usually we're machmer. We go say, the sun dipped under the horizon. That's it. Sunset. But really, the Alter Rebbe says it's a little after because because they're measuring if you were standing on a beach. The Alter Rebbe says that you have to stand on a high roof, so you would still, if you're standing on a high place, you can still see the sun as it's setting. And there's another complicated issue that Alter Rebbe has, which is, 1 second to 4 minutes. Anyway, back to the Gemara. The Gemara says, when the sun sets until there's no feet in the street. The Gemara says, "My nafkamina." The Gemara says, "The loy madlik adlik." If you didn't like it, you could still light. Inami, a second answer, l'shura, to tell you what's the sheet of oil that you need to have. The Bach says that the Rambam holds that these two answers are not a contradiction. You need both. You need to put enough oil to burn for a half hour.
Yeah.
And within that half hour, if you didn't light the first minute, you could light the second minute, as long as it's within the half hour. Now, we don't paskin like the Rambam Shulchan Aruch. The Rambam paskins that way, but Shulchan Aruch says that as long as there is people in the street, you can light all night. You can light all night. You can light. Now, Bizman said that we light inside. Again, there's a shaila. Some opinions say, "Oh, you light inside." Some say, "No. The shear still exists." But again, you can do it all night. The Mishabura says better you should wake up your family. It's not a shaila, make a bracha. Okay. So the Bach says, why is the Tur hold that way? He holds that there is a machloikas between the two opinions. One opinion says that you have to put the sheet of oil half hour. One opinion says, no, that the sheet is, you can put even a drop of oil. But now that we pass it, that would mean even until the morning, as long as people are out in the street. So the Bach holds that any oil that you put is dedicated for the mitzvah. Because if you hold like the two opinions are together, so you never need more than 30 minutes of oil, because that's what the Gemara is saying. But if you hold the two opinions are arguing, one opinion says you need a half hour oil. The other says, you can light as long as you want to light. Till Tichla Regel Menashuk. And if you're going to say that Bezman Hazeh, people are out in the street for many, many hours, in New York, people are out till the morning in the street. So, and you put oil in the Menorah, and one opinion says it even more than a half hour, less and more, whatever you put. If you put 1 minute of oil, it's kosher, and if you put 12 hours of oil, it's great. So therefore, now I understand the Bach, where the Bach holds that even if you didn't say befedish, that
Only half hour.
only half hour, because one opinion, there's a machloikas, he holds that the Rambam holds that the two opinions are together, but we hold that the two opinions are machloikas, and we're machmir lachatchila to do either way. We're machmir lachatchila. By the way, from this comes out of Kulan. We're giving we give people candles. Those candles officially burn for a half hour, but the truth
Not
is
more than a half hour.
exactly they burn not more than a half hour. But on the 8th night of Channukah, when it's hot and all 8 are lined up,
They don't burn.
they don't burn for 30 minutes.
5 minutes.
Exactly. So some people say, "Oh, it's terrible. Oh, you didn't do anything." It's not true. You didn't do anything. If you hold like the Bach holds, which is most of the Rishonim, that there's a machloikis. So one opinion says that the oil or the wick and the candle has to have a half hour in it. The other opinion says that even if it has less, it's kosher. But the one that says less is kosher, also more is kosher. Less is kosher and more is kosher. You can have 20 minutes or 12 hours. And as long as you didn't make a tanai, that's what it is. Whatever oil you put in here is part of the mitzvah. And therefore, the Bach, Lishita say, which has this way of understanding, therefore the Bach came up with saying that you have to say befeh that you're only dedicating a half hour oil. Because if you didn't say it, whatever we put in, we assume you did it for the mitzvah, because one opinion says that Eloy Madli, there's no sheet in the oil. You could put 2 minutes of oil or 12 hours of oil. And if you didn't dedicate only a half hour and you poured it in with your hand, so obviously your action speaks louder than words that you wanted to have 12 hours of oil over here. So therefore, let's go back and let's go now Lamaisa. Lamaisa, I would say like this. That Lepol the Shulchan Aruch paskins that only a half hour oil. We don't paskin like the Bach. You say like Chatchila, you should try to go like the Bach. We don't paskin like the Bach. So the Chatchila, we say you should go like the Bach. So therefore, Lamaisa. If someone wants to
Throw it out.
I would say that's the din. And I would say there's two things. Number one,
The thing is, you can throw it out.
yeah, you could throw it out as
Yeah.
long as it lit for a half hour. The second thing, say, I'm not so convinced that there's an intrinsic holiness to the oil in a way that the Aruch HaShulchan says that it's like Tashmishe Kedusha, like Retzuis. I'm not so sure. I think he's exaggerating.
That have been used.
I think it's not
He
maybe
probably
like,
believes it.
yeah, the Aruch HaShulchan. I would say, because we see later in the Rishonim, they compare it to the staff of the sukkah. And we call the idea of muktzah means I was maktzah, I dedicated it for the mitzvah. So it's more like tzitzis, not tashmisha kedusha, tashmisha mitzvah. You're not allowed to be mevaza tzitzis after you. Well, most of us will put it in the shemus, but theoretically you could wrap it up. You could wrap it up, put it away somewhere. You don't have to mamish. It's not like the pieces of svarim that you have to put in shemus. I would say as long as you're not mevaza it, it's not tashmisha kedusha, tashmisha mitzvah. So even the other opinion says if you didn't make a tanai, it would be good enough if you take it and put it in a bag. You didn't just throw it in the garbage can. You put it in a plastic bag and you made a knot. And then you put it in the garbage can. So you didn't just throw it in the can like you throw, a piece of garbage.
Mhm.
Like you put the jelly donut after Channukah when it's half stale, you throw it in the garbage like this. You take and you wrap it up in a bag. And then you put it in the garbage. I think all opinions will be happy with you if you do that. So to summarize the halacha really is that as long as it burnt for a half hour, the rest of the oil is not considered part of the mitzvah. So you could really throw it in the garbage. But there is the other opinion of the Ran, which is brought in the Bach, that as long as you didn't say that only a half hour is for the mitzvah, so everything gets dedicated for the mitzvah, the rest of the oil gets dedicated for the mitzvah. Even that opinion, I would say, as long as you're not mavazit, it's not mamish like it's suicide film, it's not tashmisha kedusha, tashmisha mitzvah. So wrap it up in a plastic bag and throw it out. But if you want to have fun and you want to tell if you want to tell your family that no, it's a dinner shulchan every year, mass, Tati, you really have to do it. So yeah, it's
So you want to make a
Shulchan
nice bonfire.
it says right over here. So if you want to have fun and burn it, tov elecha bracha. So the emes, I really, really think that it's not. The halacha really is that once it burnt for half hour, the rest of the oil is not dedicated for the mitzvah. And even the opinion says it is dedicated for the mitzvah. It doesn't have intrinsic holiness. You're just not allowed to be mavazah. It's a mitzvah. So wrap it up in a plastic and throw it out.
If he decided to
So
cook
that's
with it,
the first opinion that it doesn't have any intrinsic mitzvah. According
After a
to-
half hour, yeah.
After half hour. So if you accidentally threw out some of them in the garbage, you didn't do anything wrong. But
You did
it's
nothing wrong.
better to just wrap it up though in the
Right.
future. But
Right. Just like the Mishnah Berurah says that l'chatchila is better. I would say also here it's better to wrap it up in a plastic.
yeah,
Because you're choishish for the other opinion that says that you dedicated. If you didn't say it tonight, it's as if you dedicated. But I think wrapping it up in a plastic, throwing the garbage is good enough to accommodate all opinions.
okay.
so if you didn't make a condition for the oil and you still decided to cook with it, and the oil is still has its holiness, wouldn't that just elevate the food you're cooking with? And then when you're making brachas on it, it would elevate the brachas even more. Because
I know that's why I don't think it's really a shaila of holiness. It really means like the skach of sukkah, which later they bring. It's because you dedicated it for the mitzvah. You're not allowed to use it for anything else. It's not really like a gather of kedusha. It's because you dedicated it for the mitzvah. You're not allowed to use it for something else.
Like I have an old bamboo bat that's now broken completely. I have to throw it out. There's nothing I can do with it anymore. I can't use it for the mitzvah.
Right. Because you dedicate. No, it's not true because lagabe bamboos, the din is that after 8 days you're allowed to use it. It's only dedicated for 8 days. That's what all the Rishonim ask. I don't understand by the bamboos after 8 days you're allowed to use it. Why is the Menorah different? So they say because the bamboo, it's going to last. Here, you're thinking it was going to burn out, but you didn't know it's not going to burn out. And in your mind, you dedicated it.
It's like the actual mitzvah of Channukah then.
I would say there's a little bit of a beauty here that there's something dedicated to Chanukah. The time is short. I just want to say one more thing, and without the lumdus, we say the Gemara says that if you have Ner Shabbos and Ner Chanukah, Ner Shabbos is more important. Why?
Shalom Bias.
Because Shalom Bias Odif. The Rebbe has a beautiful word on this. I wanted to talk a little bit of lumdus on this, but the time is short. The Rebbe says that the thought is like this, that in order to have the power to illuminate outside, first you have to be strong inside. So first, it has to be that you and your wife are tight. The Shalom Bias. Once you have Shalom Bias, then you can influence the world around you. But it has to start at home. Once you Shalom Bias, you're tight in the inside, the bias is good, then you can start shining all around. Okay, I'll leave it at this, the lumdus that I wanted to talk about, and we'll talk another time.
Yeah.
But David shall help him that it should be in every one of us. We should have
to Teves.
Yeah, Yerchan and Davis should have it a fuish shleima. He's usually here every Sunday morning. He's the first man in the minyan. First three in the minyan.
Amen.
Okay, should have it a fuish shleima. Yeah.
Who's the second?
Oh yeah.
Can you use the oil for Shabbos candle if you have Shabbos oil, if you have olive oil for your Shabbos
What?
candles?
Yes.
What?
Because the point of the din is that as long as it burns for
Hour.
half hour,
What?
you're allowed to use it. Yes.
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem.
Okay, very good. Shkoyach. Freilich Channukah.
Baruch
Everyone that joined us, the Eibusher should give every one of us, B'techechi Klal Yisrael, tremendous amount of Chanukah guilt.
Amen.
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 That we should be able to serve the Eibusher, Avodas Hashem, believe of Sholing.
Amen.
Freilich
Amen. Baruch Chanukah.